Hi, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 13 of SteamLUG Cast. We're recording this on the 10th of July, 2015. My name is Cheese, and with me I have Bean.
Hello.
Hero.
Greetings.
And DerRidda.
Hello.
How's it going, guys?
Fine.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, before we dive in, we've been playing lately. Bean, what have you been up to?
Been playing a little more Nimble Quest, some Guns of Icarus Online. Started going back to some older games that I had that I haven't played for a long time. So I finished Shatter finally.
Oh, nice.
And then playing some Assault Android Cactus. Shatter. I like it.
I love it.
I like games that take something familiar and then do something different with it. It doesn't have to be anything overt. Doesn't have to change the gameplay forever, but just something that adds a little bit of extra something to it.
Yeah, I think it's the best Pong interpretation I've played, I don't know, the past 2 decades.
It's a long time.
I absolutely love that game.
Isn't it Arkanoid?
It's similar to that. I still think Mega Ball was my favorite.
You have the ability to push and pull and influence the ball while it's in the like in the play space, so you've got more than just being able to hit the ball.
I have listened to the soundtrack so many times already, but I have hardly played the game.
Yeah, the soundtrack's totally on my to play on replay while I'm working type thing. Very cool.
Yeah, the soundtrack definitely keeps you motivated to play through it. And then really the last thing when there was I tried to play some Storm United. I think there was supposed to be an alpha patch last week that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Gets the main menu and you can't select anything after that. So you just can't actually get into a game yet.
Right.
It's alright though. Still early access and way early alpha, so looking forward to where it goes.
Some people are able to get further, but it still can't get into game for Linux, but hopefully the next update fixes that. Updated Unit or Unreal Engine 4.
I sure hope so. So what have you been playing, Hero?
Been playing a ton of Assault Android Cactus. I've been really getting into it recently. Beating some of my own high scores, getting S+ runs and such, as well as playing a lot of cooperative with my sister, which is really cool, despite some camera issues. I also played a little bit of Sir You Are Being Hunted in their new multiplayer beta. I was hosting it and everything seemed to work fine except for known issues that affect Windows as well. Hooray for parity. And it's interesting. I think the game is very different when you're playing it in multiplayer, especially because it has sort of a competitive twist at the end. Only one person can make it out.
No, I've not played Sir You Are Being Hunted. What is it like?
It's a survival game. You're scavenging for supplies and trying to find some fragments. They're little artifacts you have to bring back to this rock in the center of the map. Once you bring all those things, you teleport out of the world and you're saved. And the whole time you're being hunted by these super British robots.
It looks pretty neat.
And it's actually a finished survival game for once.
Yes. And as Numotor mentioned, who I was actually playing it with, there's a huge focus on stealth. So if you can stay hidden from the robots, then you're going to be way better off. If you're running around, you're just going to get shot and die. There's also a lot of tension, because if somebody finds you, you don't have a lot to fight back with. Sometimes they'll sneak up on you, and you just have to start running and hope you can make it away.
I really like that kind of stuff. It's kind of neat.
Alright, so Cheese, what have you been playing?
Not much. I've mostly been focusing on game development lately, but I did find time to play a bunch of Invisible Ink yesterday, which is always fun. Started playing on a slightly harder difficulty, and having had a bit more experience in the game and learning that it's not about map control, it's about reconnaissance and awareness and being agile enough to respond to unexpected situations. Having that kind of play style, I certainly had a much better run than my initial attempts, because I started at that difficulty when I first played the game and didn't do quite as well.
If you're trying to sweep through the maps, it doesn't really work so well for you.
Yeah,
They just wake back up and everybody gets found out.
often you need to scout out the exit before you take on the primary objective, because usually that changes the behavior of the guards and stuff in the map. So you got to have your exit path scouted out before you trigger that end event. But the clock is always ticking with the alarm level raising, so you've got that extra pressure there. It's cool. I really like that game. Also been playing a bit of Outland, which I've been playing for a while. I'm on the last level and finding it fairly challenging, which is good. That's what I would expect from that sort of game, but it doesn't have the same number of checkpoints as one or two of the previous boss fights, which makes it a bit, I don't know, it goes on. I've been stuck on it for over a month now, I think. At this point, I just like to finish it, but I'm sure that when I'm done, I'll feel a lot better about it. And I also found some time to play a little bit of Massive Chalice. DerRidda, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've finally been playing Dying Light. I figured out that my crashes were some kind of incompatibility with me and my hardware running that on Steam runtime. So after disabling the runtime just for that game, I managed to play all the way through it. And it was quite fun, even though the story was super insanely stupidly written. It's just facepalm all over the place as soon as the main antagonist gets in all the time. Even the player character, even his writing doesn't take him seriously anymore. It's like no answers to anything he says, just, will you shut up already? It's amazing.
Wow.
But it's still a fun game, and looking forward to the event we have for that. So I also played through Arx Fatalis via the open source project Arx Libertatis, and I finally finished that 10 years old game I never finished before. If you have it around either from GOG or on old disk and want to play through it again, or for the first time, just do it. It runs fabulously on Linux. And I also finally played through one game of Game Dev Tycoon without going broke, and actually managed to hit the end of the game. So
how was that?
It has improved quite a lot in recent years. It has been years for this game, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, because I haven't played it since I played it for a couple weeks after it came out. Haven't touched it since.
Yeah, it has improved quite a bit. It is a lot more predictable, and stuff that didn't make sense before now finally makes sense. Before, if you did like a two-genre game and combined action with RPG, which is in the real world a completely valid and popular genre, they always told you no matter what you did, that's a terrible genre combination, and you got crappy reviews. Some of that stuff they have improved. And overall, just a much nicer game. It's still a game that tries to pretend to know how game development works, even just in a nutshell. And it's the first game that studio actually ever made, so a bit pretentious. And I still do not recommend playing it up, but if you have it lying around, might give it another shot. And I also played one online game of Sir, You're Being Hunted, together with the Limey Dragon from the IRC chat room, and it was quite intense, actually. The gameplay totally changes when you're in multiplayer, from just surviving long enough against the stupid robots to outsmarting the other guy, because the main thing about these Sir, You're Being Hunted multiplayers, only one person actually gets to escape. It's like a bit co-op competitive in the beginning, and towards the end you're just thinking about how many pieces do we still need to activate the teleporter, how many pieces does the other guy have, where do I find him, do I need to shoot him, do I need to avoid him, and it's really interesting. It's definitely a contender for our events when it's actually finished, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I also got to spank the ever-living crap out of my nephew in Worms Climbers, so don't call Child Protective Services, please. And I played one game of Dota 2 Reborn, and it's so much better in the technology department than the default one.
How much Clan Wars have you played?
Only 2 rounds with my nephew just a couple of hours ago.
What do you think of it?
I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of interesting new stuff. I still have no idea what the purpose of that flying monkey is, except he brings in stuff and that's useless, or something along those lines.
You can pick... Oh no, hang on, it's the UFO that you can pick stuff up with. I can't remember what the flying monkey is. Yeah, no, it just drops an obstacle.
Yeah.
Which is mostly useless.
Yeah, indeed. Interesting, but useless. But I do like the dynamically differently sized worms bring in. Like the really small one that is super fast and jumping all over the place, and the fat one who, if you put him on a jetpack, you think you're trying to start a tanker into space. It just is so sluggish, but...
You know the little one doesn't set off mines?
Oh, that's why I couldn't baseball bat my nephew into a mine. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff's not...
Not so obvious.
Well communicated, I don't think.
Yeah, that's not the game for. We just wanted to play and jumped straight into it without any further tutorial play or anything, so you don't get to complain about stuff not being communicated if you didn't look for the communication. But yeah, I think I like it, though I take back everything about what I said about them improving the ninja rope again, it is still terrible.
Yeah, it's I prefer the old ninja rope behavior.
You can't do rope stands.
Wait. How old?
Yeah.
Because you remember, because it's been changed a couple of times. So when you say old,
Worms 1, 2, and Armageddon.
okay,
Yeah.
it would be nice to have that back.
What about Hedge Wars?
It's like, the new rope is more realistic, but in terms of navigating the playfield and having an enjoyable gameplay experience with, and having decent maneuverability, the old ninja rope is definitely a lot better, I think.
Though the good thing is you can reliably do the ceiling swinging again, like the Spider-Man stuff where you jump from ceiling to ceiling. That is working better now again.
I don't think I've actually pulled off that yet.
I pulled it off like once in single player, I think. And it felt like I wasn't having any problems with it, but I could be wrong, I could have just been lucky.
Yeah, I don't use it much, so I'm nowhere near. Just haven't invested the time in getting familiar with it. I imagine, I'm sure a bit more time would be a bit better.
So, moving on to SteamLUG community stuff. Our past events. We had, after the previous cast, a run-through of Series Sam 3 Seriously Casual, which is Telly's incarnation of the co-op with unlimited respawns and unlimited ammo, but super tough enemies.
Yeah, I wanted to make that.
And that scale with the number of players that are there. And, well, the server's still up, so it gets a little crazy once there's 8 people in there. The enemies are so incredibly overpowered, and the damage they do is incredible. But it's a lot of fun because you just respawn and go at it again.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance.
It's cool. Does it keep players a bit closer together, do you think?
Well, it becomes hard to get further ahead.
Yeah, sort of.
It depends on who you're playing with, of course.
Because
Yeah.
There's always an asshole that has to run far ahead of everybody and start spawning enemies for everyone. Yeah, that was me. So does it? You should stay together, actually. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, it does kind of enforce that because the enemies are so you can't. You're playing by yourself. You can run as far ahead as you really want to.
You can't solo it.
But you can't. You can't do it here because you'll just reach a point where there's a wall of something you cannot pass. And the way that Telly has the respawn set up,
100 clears with insane health.
Yeah, right. So you spawn right back in the middle of them. So you end up dying like 4 or 5 times before it realizes, I should pop you back in the middle of the map.
Yeah. And that's a problem we've had with like some of our past co-op events, is that we've had a very big spread between the people at the front and the people at the back.
I think it definitely made things better.
That's cool.
The other thing is a lot of us were working together to get the secrets, so we were all bunching up, allowing the enemies to create a wall for us, I guess.
Yeah, but what you said, synergy is quite good. It has an option to turn on anti-rush, which places transparent walls at places for everybody to gather up. So
I think we've had that enabled for all of our events.
Yes, we did. It kind of put...
Which we have one at the end of the month as well.
Ooh.
Sweet.
It kind of put a damper on our speedboat racing net sometimes.
So last week we had a Sanctum 2 event, as well as a CSGO event. So I was at the CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I'm pretty sure I played my best games of Counter-Strike ever. I'm pretty much a noob, so...
Yeah, I under the bus with you, but that's not hard against our community. Not to diss anybody, but if you don't have a lot of experience, it's quite good to get together with a couple of casual people and gain in there, because experience is a lot in CSGO or Counter-Strike for that matter.
It was fun though. We split up into different channels in mobile so that we could communicate a little more. And
yeah, it worked out really, really well. John Drinkwater was kind of helping around, get familiar with some of the maps and what the areas where some of the names are, and better strategies for things I hadn't ever paid attention to. So it was a lot of fun.
It's amazing what a difference splitting people up into different channels can make for that sort of game.
Oh, definitely.
Well, and one of the big things there is that in casual, it's all chat, so you can, it's like you're trying to call something out, and you're like, yeah, we heard that. Oh, that didn't work out then. And so that was kind of part of the reason for that, so that we could discuss strategies. And once, because seriously, it looks like a generic shooter from the outside, right? If you don't play it, it just looks like a generic shooter. Like, I don't know why does Counter-Strike get the same kind of hate that Call of Duty does? I don't know if it does or not.
No.
See, and that doesn't make any sense, because
it usually doesn't.
No.
They look to me externally the same. The strategies are different. The gameplay and the objectives, I understand they're different, but just saying that for someone who doesn't play them a lot, they all look the same. So it just surprised me then to go play something like that and find out that there is something deeper than just this kind of generic shooter.
Yeah, the COD hate comes from people like Counter-Strike players because they see the differences. They know what is missing in their game, and it's coming from there. A lot of it is.
So I'm looking.
And you don't crap where you eat.
So I'm looking forward to the next event. I'm looking forward to when we start doing that again.
And the Sanctum 2 event, I totally missed that. I was hoping to make it. Did you guys manage to catch it?
I was sitting around in case there was any way that didn't fit into the main game, but I did not actually end up playing because not enough people showed up. But we had
a few of us played.
A few people there.
Yeah.
The whole time went through.
There's a few of us that played a couple different maps, leveled up like 3 or 4 levels. It was fun. Still have yet to complete the whole campaign, but again, another event, played through some more.
Yeah, you guys got through like 4 stages or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
As for upcoming events, after this cast, we're gonna play some Distance.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. Also, so Distance, when you're playing online, you don't have any collisions. But I discovered that if you're playing split screen or local, there are collisions, which is interesting.
Really?
Yes. I was playing it with my sister, and we bumped into each other, and I was like, whoa, that's not supposed to happen, I'm sorry. And then she flew off the track and blew up. Whoops.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
That's completely understandable.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but...
They didn't want to sync the physics, and locally you can easily do it, but with the network you have to interpolate and predict and everything.
Right, and especially it's so fast again.
What's the maximum number of local co-op players you can have?
I've only tried it with 2. I'm not sure if it's possible with more.
Because, the tracks aren't really designed to have more than one player with collisions.
Right, when only one person fits through this ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Tell that to the Formula 1 drivers who would race on Monaco.
Yeah, they don't do loops.
Maybe they should.
And don't have obstacles like Distance does.
It would be much more entertaining.
Oh man, I would watch a lot more if Formula 1 if it had like spinning saw blades they had to avoid.
The same goes for Trackmania. I mean, the whole reason that doesn't have collisions isn't that they don't want to sync collision stuff. It's that the tracks are not designed for that.
Right. Well, anyway, that'll be fun.
Interesting to know.
Tomorrow we'll be playing the Dota 2 Reborn beta with some custom games. Not sure exactly which ones yet. We'll probably have a variety.
How do people go about getting into that beta?
Well, that's...
You just right-click on Dota 2 in your games list and go to the DLC tab on Properties and download DLC. Or even easier, if you click on it in the large screen view, the DLC tab is right there in the information view, and you can just tick the box and it will download. It's like the easiest thing on the planet.
So basically you just need to find the
Alrighty.
DLC list in your game library for Dota 2, and then download the Reborn beta.
Awesome. I would have tried to opt into a beta branch, but it's good to know.
Right, it's interesting. I guess they want it so that people can still play the main game if they want to.
Yeah, because it really replaces nothing. You get prompted with whatever you want to start, then it's like a completely new folder in your existing Dota game with new binaries and everything.
Yeah, so there's quite a few custom games that we could try. The ones that I've enjoyed the most are actually very not Dota-like, either tower defense or like a Bomberman clone. But we could also try some Dota, like Valve has their official game type, their example, which is basically a free-for-all Dota game.
And then next week, we've got Guns of Icarus Online and Dying Light, which should be fun.
I'm hoping that for Guns of Icarus Online this time we can get a turnout. If we can get enough people there and get like 4 ships going, I think it'd be a lot of fun to have like 4 full ships of the Slug Clan just
SteamLUG versus
coming out. We can intimidate before the match, lose during, and
yeah, matchmaking still makes it awkward.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
everyone should be there.
Everyone.
Yeah, no, definitely come along. Definitely come along. I just wish matchmaking didn't break up the team after a map.
There are probably extra keys of Guns of Icarus distributed among us as well. So.
Oh yeah.
If people are that interested and they do not have the game, they can totally get in.
Definitely. So on the note of Guns of Icarus Online, as we move on to other community bits and pieces, Hero has made a new Tux decal for Guns of Icarus Online. Tell us about it, Hero.
Yeah. Before, when Guns of Icarus first added their workshop support, and they fix the Linux client for that. I submitted a plain tux decal to just a tux that can go onto the balloon on your ship, but that never made it in despite lots of positive votes. And I was thinking maybe if I put something that was a little more in the Guns of Icarus steampunk style, that it would be more likely to be accepted. So I made this, my steampunk tux. Just a tux wearing a...
What kind of response have you received so far?
Everybody that I've shown has said that it's really cool, but the votes are not as good as I expected.
Actually,
This is getting way worse votes than my original tux. I'm not sure if that's because of the saturation of decals now.
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, that's the piece that I find interesting is the fact that the plain tux was more easily accepted than, this one that actually kind of more fits the theme of the game.
I guess it's gone through a couple of iterations as well. Like maybe the the earlier versions weren't quite as solid or inspiring, and so earlier people who came across it might not have come back to it to see the updates.
Perhaps. That is a possibility. I haven't looked so much at the votes over time to try to see if that had any influence. Maybe I should. But I'm almost tempted to email the developers to see if they have any thoughts. Because I really want a penguin somewhere in the game.
That would be cool.
Well, I think it'd be nice. I think originally we discussed this before. We thought maybe it was because it's clan related, but there are several that are already been accepted in the game that are definitely clan related.
Yes.
And I would suggest that people really take a close look at the one that's for the Rider team, for the Rider clan. They have a unique logo. I'll leave it at that.
But there's many that are obvious, like Ducks decal, that can be nobody else's that is easily Ducks, and that's it. Which is cool. Hopefully the same happens for us.
Right, right. So just get more people to get out there and vote for it.
Yeah, maybe that'll make a difference.
So, Cheese, you do a lot of stuff, and sometimes you write stuff.
Sometimes I write many words. So,
do any of these words have anything to do with adventure games and the tools you make them with?
Very recently, yes, now that you mention it.
Interesting.
So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before, I don't know, I don't sleep enough. I published an article about my experiences with using the free and open source engine SteamLUG, which is sort of point and click adventure oriented. In the article, I look at some of the engine selection process that I went through. I cover the tools in the SteamLUG development kit. I run through just a bit of an overview of what the language is like, how it works, what it's about, and then I go through and share a bunch of code patterns that I felt made things a bit faster for me. And I also list a bunch of resources, which includes an example game that's really small, but covers a bunch of sort of common point-and-click adventure type stuff that if anybody's looking to use SteamLUG, it's probably a decent reference to start with. But yeah, so in addition to, like, when I first started writing the article, I was working on a game called Above the Waves for Adventure Jam, which is it was a fun project.
Super cute.
But yeah, I got a lot of good feedback on it. But I'm sort of still working on it, and I'm considering migrating it to another engine, so it didn't really feel right to have that as the focus, as the example that I was sharing a lot of source for. So the idea to do another little project kind of felt like it fit, and it was nice to be able to share something that wasn't subject to the kind of time pressures that we had during Adventure Jam. There were a lot of rushed decisions made at the last minute that I wasn't happy with.
I understand that.
But yeah, I mean, SteamLUG is a little bit dated. The engine isn't actively developed anymore, and it was created quite some time ago. So there are a few bits and pieces that if you want to make something very big and very complex, you might want to think about other tools. But if it's worth.
Godot.
Sorry, Godot. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking of migrating Above the Waves to, which will be pretty cool because that's had a whole bunch of recent updates that have come out of the Dog Mendoza development that we've covered on previous casts, I think. But SteamLUG is good for some things, like it's probably, if you're considering making a point-and-click adventure, definitely take a look at what it can and can't do, and think about whether or not it's right for what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I was thinking since you released all the source for Robin's Rescue, your example game, I was thinking about trying to convert it to Godot just for the fun of it.
Yeah, I was kind of considering doing the same. If anybody else wants to beat me to it, that'd be sweet. You know, like it would be really cool to have the same...
Get a nice little race here.
Yeah, same game on two engines to give you the ability to more directly compare how they work and what they do. That would be cool. But yeah, so that was a bit of fun to work on. And it's like 6,500 words, I think, including the code snippets in the article.
Yeah, it was
So if you're looking to dig deep, then there's enough to keep you busy.
I think that was on the shorter end of your cheese length articles.
Yeah,
But it's still a cheese length, so
it is.
be prepared, readers.
And that's also the first article I've published since I launched my Patreon campaign, so I should probably mention that I'm very, very thankful for all the people who've supported me in that. It's been very nice to have you know, a bit of I don't know, the motivational boost from having people say that they believe in the stuff that I do enough to give me a couple of dollars a month. That's a big deal.
Speaking of things you've been posting,
But yeah,
saw some pictures you put on Twitter of your planetary annihilation goodies.
yeah. So I got my physical backer rewards a couple of days ago, which is cool. And I'm just hunting for my list of what's in the box. Sit tight. Yeah, I'm recording an unboxing video, or I've recorded all the video. I just haven't put all together yet. But inside was a backer T-shirt, 2 USB drives that are kind of shaped to look like commanders. They're like these kind of rubber-ish figurines, and there's a tiny bit you have to grab the head, which is the smallest part of them, and you pull it out, and that's where the USB drive itself is. So like so many people seem to have missed that. It's not very obvious at all. The store page where you confirm what you're pledged for and stuff, and all your add-ons and stuff, said that was going to be preloaded with the game, but it wasn't. And that seems to have been intentional, but I didn't catch any official communication about it. But for anybody who is confused about that, I just got a tweet from Uber while I was asleep, who said that the game inside the box is a card with an activation key, and that's the substitute for having it pre-installed on the drive there. It also came with 3 unpainted figurines of a couple of the different commanders, which is cool, and a letter from John Mavor, who was a Total Annihilation developer and one of the project leads on Planetary Annihilation as well, which is kind of cool. Always nice to see a box that says, you know, that the disc has Linux support on it.
And I really like that t-shirt.
On the back is a cool design that says backer, but I don't have a picture of that up at the moment. And as I mentioned just before we started with the cast, the README on the disk for installing Linux at the beginning, it opens with, "Hello, beautiful Linux user, and thank you for buying our game."
Hooray.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
I made a README just for you. Everybody gets, "Hello, average-looking Linux user."
Probably true.
I was gonna say they personalized it for you.
Yep.
It's probably just at that backer level, right? At the lower level, they just call you something snide.
Yeah. Thanks, prick. Dear me. So moving on to Steam news. Looks like Valve have sold all of their pre-order stock for the hardware, which is great news for anybody outside the US or the regions where they were shipping stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's just good news in general. It means that, you know, that at least it shows that there's a market for it.
Demand, yeah.
Yeah, there's excitement.
But isn't that, to put a dampener on that excitement, isn't that only related to the controller and the Steam Link?
Yes.
I mean, this wasn't at all about any of the machines, which is a big important thing, at least for us.
Interesting, because I'm in that camp where the controller and the Link are actually more, I'm more interested in those than I am in picking up a Steam machine. It won't, for me, it won't provide any benefit over my current desktop.
Now, to clarify, this is Steam's own hardware that ran out of their early pre-order stock. You can still pre-order, but you won't get it earlier than the official release date. And Steam machines are still able to be pre-ordered through their usual vendors.
Well, that's cool. But still, no use for those of us outside the shipping region.
Right.
But I think I agree with what Bean was just saying. I feel like the gamepad and the Link thing even though they're not necessarily Steam machines and they're not running Linux themselves, as far as we can tell, I feel like they're going to support the Steam machine ecosystem a little bit to a degree.
Right.
Yeah, the controller I think is a very big part of their strategy.
Well, and even with the Steam Link, that's going to tie into the broadcasting within Steam itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd hope that, when it comes out, that the Steam machines themselves would be able to broadcast to a Steam Link. So that's the part that I'm looking forward to, is that broadcasting should be a for certain thing when these things ship on Linux.
Yeah.
Yeah, the regular Steam machines, they are completely for a different target audience, except for a few niche cases of people that have enough money to spend all the cash on another living room machine. It's only really for people who are not yet part of the Steam ecosystem, because if you're part of the Steam ecosystem, you have any kind of PC that is either running Windows, Linux, or OS X already, and you're already properly served by Steam.
Right.
This is for a different audience.
I suspect that we'll see some lighter weight, more affordable Steam machines landing that might be of interest to existing users. Things that you could use to stream, more heavy games, but are also capable of running lighter weight games.
Well, I'd also be interested in seeing something where the Steam machines had the ability to, say, do something like PlayStation Now, where I could stream a game from Windows that's in my library. Then that would provide some benefit for me, not having to actually run a Windows machine in my house to stream from, for example.
Oh, you mean stream from a remote server?
Sure, something like that.
Like from Valve or something?
But specifically to a Steam machine. Like there's something in there that says, hi, this is a valid official Steam machine.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the pricing is like once these things hit market and have a chance to settle. I think the prices will probably drop a bit. That's my speculation.
So we have some statistics on the Steam Summer Sale, thanks to Steam Spy. There's a lot of interesting data you can pull from this. Some things that I noticed was that Counter-Strike Global Offensive sold more than any other game during the sale, and that Ark Survival Evolved had the highest revenue of any game during the sale.
Not surprising though. I mean, that's been sitting at the top for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a new release, so everybody's excited about it.
Yeah, it's the next new overhyped survival game that will probably never be completed.
With crafting, and just as many bugs as other survival games.
But it's a bit sad to see that it seems like those that already have most of the attention continue to have it even during sales. That seems like the customer is very risk averse and does not pick up any, or not that many indie games in general. It seems like in older sales, the indies picked up a bigger crowd, then, especially with this one.
So, tech news.
So Codeweavers have announced that, didn't really announce it. There was actually an article about E3, but in there's a paragraph where they mentioned that by the end of the year, they may actually have DirectX 11 support for Mac OS X and Linux.
Yes, please. I still got some old stuff that actually needs that I want to finish.
Old?
Old by...
Yeah, that also includes DirectX 10, which has been around since Windows Vista, if you get right down to it, which is old by now.
Okay.
And we didn't have DirectX 10 before.
Vista is new in my spectrum of new to old.
Well, anyway, without DirectX 11 support, Wine was starting to become a game, or the way to play old games as opposed to just games that you couldn't run natively. So this is exciting for a lot of users.
And I hope a lot of Linux gamers will give them money for that.
It's tricky. I kind of...
This makes me think of the Mac OS X cider days, where game studios were still developing the same things the same way they always did and expecting Cider to wrap it for them correctly. Cider being a spin-off of Sedega, which was Trans Gaming's version of Wine that supported DirectX.
Yeah, it would be sad to see newer DirectX 11 games or developers assuming that Wine supporting DirectX 11 would be servicing the Linux market. That would be kind of sad. But
we already see that with Eon ports, to be honest, so this would not change the situation.
Yes, and well, no, that's different.
If they're going to provide support for a wrapped,
because that's someone who's offering support. Yeah.
For a wrapped game, I think that's still better than assuming that all Linux users are fine because we have our own way of doing it. Not that I really see that happening, but I certainly hope it doesn't.
Yeah, same here.
Well, by the end of this year, we can all look back at it and say, okay, here's what happened.
So in a previous cast, we touched on the upcoming Linux client for the Unity engine, or Linux editor for the Unity engine. And in the meantime, Natasha has posted a like an official blog post on the Unity website talking about where things are at and how they're moving ahead. It's great to see, a bit more information about where things are going.
Yeah, and touched on some of the issues they encountered and how they went about fixing it.
Most of these issues boiled down to we were stupid back in the day and never actually anticipated doing this.
Yeah.
So that's why we caused ourselves problems, not the platform, not anybody else, our laziness at the time.
And they fully admit that. Like, the way we did this was horrible, and we're fixing it now.
But yeah, it's really interesting to see these two people, Natasha and Levi, but they both have done so much for Linux gaming. In my personal opinion, with that, they have easily done as much as well, just these two people. So, in other Unity news, there was apparently a keyboard input regression, and that has been fixed now in release 5.1.1 P3.
Yes.
Somebody tell me something about it, because I have never actually seen that regression. I think I didn't play anything that was on a version that was affected.
This has hit a whole bunch of games. I think it hit Hand of Fate. I think it hit Assault Android Cactus. It's the thing that everybody's been complaining about with Rust. Basically, it doesn't catch the key up events for keyboard input sometimes, or most of the time, and so you end up with if you press W, it acts like W is being held the whole time. And we helped highlight this and get the fix rolled out and stuff. TAC gave us a couple of custom binaries to pass on to developers who wanted to work around the issue, and the official patch has only just landed in that P3 release, which came out, a week ago or something?
I'm not exactly sure on the release date. I know...
it says on the patch releases page, let me check. July 6th. July 3rd, sorry.
In some cases, some users were quite outraged by this. Which I'm not sure if that was fully justified, and usually they're directing it towards the developer, and the developer just wanted to have the latest Unity 5. So, sort of...
I guess the downside here is that there were developers who moved up to new Unity and shipped the game when I think it would have been fairly obvious that it wasn't working correctly on Linux.
If they had just tested. Well, as far every game that I tried that had the issue no longer has the issue. Another big one was Rust, and they just pushed an update today, which fixed it.
Sorry? I didn't catch that. Do you want to say that again?
Every game that I've tried that had the issue is now fixed.
Yeah. Distance got the fix a while back. I'd listed that down in the gaming news to talk about. I'd given them a custom engine binary, and they ended up using that, I think. But they may have moved up to the actual official patch release now, I'm not sure. So, SteamOS Arcade Machine.
Yeah, that one was quite interesting. While idly browsing Reddit, yes, I hate it, but I still use it for my entertainment. You may judge me on that, I won't fault you. And it's not a very highly powered machine. The creator apparently intends to use it for streaming mostly, but it's still a very nice project. It's a big, hunky arcade machine, custom built, with a slide-out hidden keyboard and mouse compartment, but it has two arcade sticks, which look like Xbox 360 inspired. And yeah, he's demoing native towerfall on it. It looks like a quite nice project. If you slap a powerful PC into that, it might be really an awesome machine to all of your Steam OS playing on.
Yeah, it's done really well, and there was a complete blog post that details all the steps he took to build the machine.
I didn't pay attention. Did he actually use a CRT monitor?
No, that's an LCD.
No, it looks like it's a flat screen in there.
Yeah, that would have been overkill, but also cool.
I look at this and I feel like it would have been worth making some slight deviations from a standard arcade cabinet
There was.
style
There's a.
to make it chair friendly.
Well, there's a.
Yeah, there's a slide-out keyboard and mouse compartment, and you could just sit
Yeah.
in front of it with a chair and just look over those joysticks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are some considerations for if that user ever wants to use a keyboard.
Yeah, I saw the slide out draw. I just don't know if it's as much as I would have done. But it's all good.
There was an interview with the president of the Kronos Group, Neil Trevet, about Vulkan. It doesn't really tell us many new things, but it lays to rest, in my opinion, the rumor about Vulkan releasing around SIGGRAPH, because it seems like all the narrative is still being pushed to by the end of the year, but not at this point. You don't say by the end of the year if you mean like next month.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be nice whenever Vulkan hits.
So
there's
Steam Boy thing has been renamed to SMAC.
SMUG 0.
Hmm.
So they released some specs, including that they're using a AMD system on chip, which is interesting.
Can't believe that they're just trying to leverage enthusiasm for Alpha Centauri with the name in there. It's just terrible.
yeah, AMD SOC, 4GB of RAM, 720p screen, and interesting wireless connectivity options like 4G even.
Yeah, they'll have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 4G.
But to be honest, I want that thing. That's like the most interesting Steam machine to me so far.
It looks really interesting, but I just wonder how well will it work with the AMD graphics.
Yeah, about the AMD graphics. They actually seem to be improving because of the new driver releases AMD has done recently, like the currently new stable 15.7 Catalyst driver on Linux, which brings OpenGL 4.5 officially now.
Hooray.
And it seems like in some games you can see considerable improvements without any outstanding regressions, which is sadly rare for AMD. So if you have a supported card, definitely grab this one.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of users tried some games out that did not have any AMD support before because of the higher OpenGL version, and it works fine now.
There is a... No, hold on a second. There is a game on Linux that actually does need OpenGL 4.5.
I don't believe 4.5, but it fixed...
Because AMD was all the way up to 4.4, so that can't be it.
Well, I've heard from people who tried, I believe it was Metro, which was using somewhat newer OpenGL versions, and it fixed some of the issues that they were having there. They were actually able to play it.
That I do believe. There are probably some bug fixes for AMD's vulnerabilities from yesteryear in there. I would not doubt that.
Okay, well, so perhaps it's not the OpenGL version, but it still fixes and that stuff. Pretty nice that they're actually continuing to improve this.
Maybe by November there will actually be Steam machines with AMD GPUs, which at the moment are really extremely competitive with NVIDIA. They are like just inches favoring one card in that price range and the other in that. It's incredibly close this race, and it's sad that Linux users cannot participate in that because of AMD's driver quality.
Yeah.
So maybe by November, when Steam machines are actually coming out, this will be a different story, without waiting for the new in-kernel AMD GPU driver. Moving on to general gaming news. Do you like LEGO? I like LEGO, even though I have not tried LEGO Minifigures Online, which has just recently launched on Linux.
Yeah, so with the day one release,
I'm in the same boat.
They had Linux support. It's a MMO created by some people that make MMOs. I don't remember the developer.
Developer is Funcom, apparently.
There we go. Funcom, yes. So, it doesn't use any, movie license content like many other recent LEGO games do. This is completely original LEGO minifigure-based stuff.
That's a hot dog minifigure.
I haven't played it. I thought it had some licensed content in it, but I could be confusing it with another LEGO game.
Well, LEGO Dimensions, which is sort of a Minecraft clone, has lots of licensed content.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know. I stopped paying attention to LEGO games.
Well, there are those among us who are hoping for more Lego games to come after this,
Yeah.
which could...
I hope we see Lego Star Wars 2.
Yes, exactly. I want Lego Star Wars.
That's the best one.
But we'll see what happens. This could be the beginning of a new era, but we don't really know yet.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I hope it gets good response. I hope the game is good and that people enjoy it.
So there's a new mod released for Portal called Portal Stories Mel with Linux support.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check this out, but I've seen a lot of people playing it. Any of you guys had an opportunity to play it?
Sadly, not yet, but I'm downloading it right now because this just reminded me. And I've heard good things about it, even that the person that is not the official Cave Johnson voice actor actually does a pretty damn good impression of him most of the time, which is interesting.
I tried it a little bit. It's interesting. I'm not sure how much more I'll be playing it. It's definitely a very large effort, and so I have to appreciate that.
It seems to be well received. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Kung Fury Streets of Rage, or Street Rage, or Rage of Streets is out.
Yeah, which ties into the...
Did we touch on that in a previous cast?
There was the Kung Fury movie, which released, and the Street Rage game came out at the same time, but only recently has it had Linux support. I think it was supposed to at launch.
It must have been coming soon for a little while then.
Right, I think it was supposed to, but only just recently have they added support. So just a beat 'em up, basically, to go along with the movie. Very retro style. CRT, like artifacts when you're playing the game and stuff.
Right, so it's borrowing from things like Streets of Rage and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Ark Survival Evolved, which we mentioned earlier, is now available for Linux.
Yes, has anybody here played it? Or are you always condescending about that genre as I am?
I've not played it. I've heard from friends that it works, it does the job, and that it actually seems to be further along than they expected, but still optimization issues and such. It's also one of the few Unreal Engine 4 games on Steam right now for Linux.
Yes, but I've heard they are really on the spot about fixing those issues. They are cranking out updates like crazy, which is good if you are an early access project.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. It's Mim's birthday today, and she's interested in it, so I have copies in my inventory now.
Ooh.
Fancy.
So I'll be able to report back and tell people how it is.
Yeah, so what I've heard is that as far as Unreal Engine 4 games on Linux, it is easily the furthest along and the most working. The other ones being Centration and Storm United, which either have no content or don't work.
So it looks like the next iteration of America's Army might be coming to Linux. Is anyone excited for this?
I would be if I didn't watch the trailer, because I liked the game back in the day with zero money, a proper free-to-play game before free-to-play even was a thing, and that was actually completely free, no microtransactions, and it was good. Can't deny that. Good propaganda.
Yeah, which
Go America.
it was very much... In the way they got away with free-to-play at the time was it was totally a recruitment platform. And they did fairly well. It actually, as far as like a tactical shooter goes, it was fairly nice. Not sure how this one is, because I haven't seen that video.
Yeah, it looks like they are exclusively setting that in the kill house training areas they use for the US Army, and it's just all glorified laser tag.
Oh.
Which is a bit stupid. I mean, the old one had real scenarios.
Well, we'll see.
Which were more interesting and diverse looking and quite large sometimes. Some of the maps were really not that small. So it seems like we get the most boring one ever, since we actually originally had the first one.
Right.
That was ported by Ryan Gordon until a certain point when they stopped paying him, and it's, well, then it was over.
Well, they've started to show interest again. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's beta. Maybe they will extend that to an actual fleshed out release at some point. I mean, if anyone in the United States is not asking for more cash, it's the United States Army, because, I mean, they get tanks like shoved on their faces by Congress and they don't even want them. So they have all the money. Just sell a couple tanks, make a video game. Everybody wins.
So the rest of America is ignored? Like Central America and South America and Canada, and it's only the US Army? It's a bit egotistical.
Canada's not yet America.
I was making joke. You laugh now. Ha ha ha.
It's not yet America.
So, Coffin Dodgers is out of early access and 20% off.
So this is a kart racer where it's a bunch of older people racing.
Oh.
Hence, Coffin Dodgers.
Finally, a game that markets to my demographic.
You'd be an old man with an Uzi.
Again, my demographic. This is beautiful. I'm gonna go get it.
Wow. I'd never heard of this game.
Actually, has anyone played it?
You see it or it didn't happen. I mean, everybody's complaining about the lack of racers on Linux, and a good card game might be nice. And it has positive reviews all over the place, it seems. There's two words that make our occasional co-host and audio editor excited when you say them, and it's Alien Isolation. And to make him even more excited, it seems like it's coming to Linux. There has been SteamDB activity creating depots for that game for Linux and Mac, but who cares about that? So,
I know.
yeah, this is...
Well, that's interesting.
I feel like Corbin should unmute himself so he can gush for a little bit.
Well, did you hear him? He was cooing pre-cast.
Oh,
him.
I know.
He was like giggling like a little baby. He's so excited about this. Alien Isolation coming to Linux potentially, you know? I think he's excited.
So none of these depots actually have content in them yet. They're all empty.
Right.
But they are very deliberate. This is not something you just push out there because your silly virtual reality toolkit comes with a Linux depot. This is like the whole deal, all the DLC for both platforms, everything.
Right. They've created it separate depots for all of the DLCs and stuff. So it does definitely feel deliberate.
So yeah, but we have no idea who is porting this yet.
Yeah.
There's like no discernible pattern, except that it does not seem to look like typical virtual programming because of the technology they use. They usually share depots, and this is completely separate depots.
Yeah, so we basically know nothing about it except that it seems to be happening.
It's Code Weavers. Has to be. DirectX 11 by the end of the year, and now this?
Oh man, stop it.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
No coincidence there.
Write that up. Run with it. Sorry.
Confirmed. That's what we say.
Also confirmed is the Talos Principle Road to Gehenna DLC. It is coming out in July 23rd, which we did not know before. So for any of you who can't wait to get more of the Talos Principle, you have to wait just a little longer.
Road to Gianna Sisters sounds like a brilliant crossover.
You know, it might work.
But it would never come out for Linux.
Is it for adults or family friendly? Ooh, snap.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this DLC. Is anybody up to speed with it?
I know that it's large, and that it's the Talos Principle, which I have, but I haven't really played yet. It will consist of 4 episodes that's made for more experienced players. So those who have already beaten the game, I assume. Just some more endgame content.
Well, that's neat. For anybody who has been affected by it, Legend of Grimrock had some issues with 900 series NVIDIA cards that caused it to crash on launch. There's recently been a Linux beta added that has a fix for it. I hear that DRM-free versions should be pretty close to live if they're not live already. So yeah, the issue is more or less resolved at the moment, which is good to see.
Yeah, it's nice to know that it's fixed now. I wasn't affected by it, but I know a lot of people were upset that what seemed to be such a small issue is now resolved.
Yeah, we had like one guy in the chat that was in the middle of his first time playthrough when that bug hit him, which is a real bummer. And it took months for this to be fixed.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not like, oh, look at this developer seeing a bug and fixing it right then and there. Nope, this took months and like no reaction from them in the time until the fix was there. None at all. This is not good communication, but at least it's fixed now.
So it looks like Team Fortress 2 has a new update. Any new game types? Anyone played it yet?
I haven't played it yet, but I was reading about it. It includes a paid game mode that you can, an optional thing, where you can get sweet decals for your gun, or sweet skins, if you're into that sort of thing.
Knives? Do you get knives?
I don't know, maybe.
I'm not really interested unless there's like tux all over it.
I don't know, it seems like they're trying to leverage some of the CSGO enthusiasm for skins.
Yeah.
It seems bizarre and alien to me.
And I don't think would be all that great here. It wouldn't work here.
Well, there's also a lot of balancing and such, so it wasn't just that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight.
It was a pretty massive update otherwise.
The changelog. Yeah, like outside of the paid mode, the changelog includes a huge amount of balancing changes, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's always nice for, well, TF2 seems like it'll never stop getting support.
It's good. It may outlast The Simpsons.
The Simpsons have outlasted The Simpsons.
I'm trying to find the changelog, but the TF2 side is being incredibly slow for me. So the new maps, I have to say, I'm not sure, but are the new maps available outside of the gunmetal campaign thing?
Chat says yes.
Yeah, they are. Okay, well that's sweet. And at the bottom of that page is the big list of balancing updates, which is great. We had developer JP Lebreton on a previous cast a while back. He's gone independent and has announced the new project that he's working on. Doesn't have a name yet, doesn't have many details. It's just started talking about it via a fairly quiet dev stream. He's created a tool called Playski, which is geared towards creating ASCII art, and it's like an art creation tool as well as a game creation tool. So it's got this interesting feel to it. I'm kind of keen to see where it goes. But yeah.
That's definitely within the style he's interested in.
So if anybody's interested in checking that out, yeah, I want to pick up Playski and do a few pieces of artwork at some stage when I have some time. Because I've never really done that sort of thing, and I'm feeling a little bit inspired.
Yeah, you want to do some charming artwork, I imagine.
Yeah, that's my shtick, right?
Yeah. I don't know, have you been following the development of Playski? It's kind of interesting how it's more from originally kind of a way to do like art using old font sets and so on, into kind of this, and I think that was it was his goal all along, but it's kind of started to become the kind of this game tool / engine. So it's kind of fun to watch it kind of morph over time. He posts updates about Playski fairly regularly, does some dev streaming every once in a while, and you get to see like what he's actually up to and what's going on. It's actually, and it's kind of fun to kind of get a peek behind, or into the mind of a designer and see what they're doing and what their goals are and how they approach different problems.
We mentioned earlier that Distance has been updated to Unity 5.
Did we? Well, we did now.
In passing, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I believe that's only in the experimental branch at the moment, but it is...
Yes, sorry, in the experimental branch, yeah.
Right, but it is now available for Linux users to play around with.
Now, have you played that much, Hero?
I actually haven't been able to, no.
Oh.
I've been sticking to the main branch.
Well, I have. It brings some interesting physics changes. The car feels a little bit more light, and people talk about bounciness, and it's hard to tell whether it's how much of it is the game being unpredictable and how much of it is people getting used to just some slight changes in the behavior, because it's such a fast-paced, and I guess when you're playing to not die, high precision game, that small changes will feel like big changes.
Right, and this is sort of expected, as one of the biggest changes in Unity 5 is how the physics is handled. Every game that's had a transition had to deal with the different feel of the physics. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I've been trying to the game doesn't have a daily challenge mode, but I've been putting the ISO date into the track modifier generator, and so trying to play a track every day as a way of making sure that I keep playing games that I'm interested in. And I don't mind it. I feel like I'm kind of used to it now. But there are a few points where certain crashes that feel like they should have just knocked the car around, caused an explosion, and other crashes that feel like they should have been significant just end up, slowing me down or grinding me to a stop.
Interesting. Well, this is why it's not yet in the main branch.
Exactly.
Still gonna tweak it.
They are asking in the thread that I linked, I think, for feedback on those physics changes, and it'd be interesting to see how they look at addressing that feedback. For anybody who's interested in Massive Chalice, the Massive Knowledge documentary is done. All episodes are now online, and they cover a bunch of different roles that different developers who worked on the game had. I haven't caught the last 2 episodes yet, but so far all of it's been pretty cool. But if you're interested in checking that out, then it's all there to view.
Sounds really awesome. I think I might go through that at some point. But the knowledge is so massive, so...
They're pretty short. So unlike the Broken Age documentary, which is feels like a, part fly in the wall, part interview, this is all interview oriented, and each episode focuses on a particular developer and what their role on the game was.
Oh, interesting.
I'm kind of sad that Derek, who is a concept artist, didn't get his own episode. Each episode's about between half an hour and 50 minutes long. He just kind of comes in at the end of one of the others, but I think he's a little bit, might be a bit camera shy or something. But I really love Massive Chalice's art style, and it was great during the beginning of the crowdfunding campaign to watch him, explore some of the styles that they were going to be messing with. He did a lot of live streaming of art and stuff. But good to see him talking in there anyway.
In crowdfunding news, there's one big thing wrapping up right now. It's a Bard's Tale 4 Kickstarter, and it has a hilarious infomercial if you want to watch it, spoofing all the infomercials you have seen before. Yeah, it's sitting at a solid $1.5 million. InXile has said they will put $1.25 million on top, and whatever money they have received through PayPal. So, if you're interested, please consider backing it in the last 4 hours. It's still on. There's a couple of stretch goals still to go. And we at least know about InXile that they know how to deliver one Kickstarter campaign game with Wasteland 2, which was critically acclaimed.
Yeah. Now, did you actually say...
So if you're into Bard's Tale, definitely check it out.
Did you actually say the Bard's Tale? Because I didn't catch that.
I'm pretty sure I did say the Bard's Tale 4, but it is the Bard's Tale 4.
Hooray. And yeah, their infomercial is pretty hilarious. I like parody. Parody's fun.
Another crowdfunding campaign that I totally just add to the show notes so nobody else can know about it. Is a one that I've kind of kept a little bit of an eye on called Defect. It's going to have Linux support, although I think their plans at the moment are to not have Linux support during the during their early access phase.
I actually have seen this game before.
Which, I mean that may change over time, depending upon how eager they are to experiment or check things out. But it's a neat concept. And the idea is that you use the ship builder to build a ship, and you got to go out and kill everyone. And when you win your mission, your crew defects, you get kicked off the ship, and you have to go and design a new ship, recruit a new crew, and go and kill your previous crew. So it's like the ship that you previously built is the thing that you're going to be up against, and so you've got to know the weaknesses that your ships have, and be able to counter that sort of stuff. It's kind of a neat idea.
There's also this constant escalation that you are controlling, since you decide exactly how powerful of a ship you're going to need, and then how much better of a ship you'll need to take that one down. Knowing the weaknesses is nice too. You can purposely cripple a ship in a certain way, so that when you go against your mutinous crew, you'll know exactly how to take it out.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so it looks like they've already managed to score Steam placement. I don't know if they went through Greenlight or not.
Yeah, they say it's Greenlight. It's on the front page of the Kickstarter campaign.
Ah, I didn't see that, but okay. But yeah, they got an actual Steam store page up, which has got a Windows and Mac demo on it.
So, are we just quietly fading into the distance, or are we concluding this like professionals?
Both.
At the same time. Thanks for listening, everyone.
It's been fun.
If you have any feedback, you can email us at cast@steamlug.org.
.org.
You can also join us in IRC at irc.freno.net in the SteamLUG channel,
You can find us on Twitter at SteamLUG.
or Google Plus SteamLUG.
Plus.
And do not forget our YouTube channel, SteamLUG. We are very consistent about our naming, and you appreciate it.
And also, we're going to duck off into the event channel in just a moment and play some distance, so if you're keen to play that, then definitely join us. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye!
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh yeah, we should do that recording thing, hey?
All right. Thanks.
Nah.
I totally wasn't gonna do it. We could have another cast where we started and went for half an hour without recording.
Things happen.
Good times, good times.
Corbin's such a good editor that he can get all that stuff anyway.
Yeah, Corbin's the best.
Not for long.
Alrighty, we ready?
Ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Hi, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 13 of SteamLUG Cast. My name is Cheese. We're recording this on... Hang on. What day is it?
It's the 11th for
10th of
you.
July.
Yeah, sorry. I was staring at my clock and then I glanced down at the sheet and I was like, hang on a minute. Let's do that again. That was a misfire. The practice run.
An outtake.
Hi, and...
So
on the... go ahead.
I was just gonna segue into our other community stuff.
Yeah, that's,
You know,
that's what I was going to do as well.
Go
You
go
took
ahead.
the lead.
No.
Go.
No.
Smooth as butter. Frozen butter.